Welcome to Julie the Thrifty Designer. Today I'm going to go to the mountains and kind of look at some of my childhood areas that I have family ties to. So if you want to watch it, stay tuned. Some more beautiful fall color coming your way. Okay, we are now in Central City itself. Now, I'm only going to give you just a quick highlight of a couple of things, and I'm not going to go deeply up in here because we're starting to head for home. And this is just a quick one to show you some of my history. So as a kid, we'd walk around all over here and go look at things. And technically, this building right here that I'm focusing on was the jail. Oh, maybe not that. This one's a theater. Where's the jail? The jail must be where it's the orange colored one. And used to be able to take a tour and go in, and they had the jail cells, and it was like a museum. But it has sure gone downhill from what it was like when I was a kid. And so it's kind of disappointing in that sense. You know, casinos came up here, and it just quit being the just a touristy little old mining town. And it's sad. I'm going to cross the street here in a moment and just let y'all look up the street for a moment. Okay, isn't this cute? I had to show it. I mean, this is just as adorable as can be for fall. Love it. I wish I could do this at home. It's so cute. And then they have behind it is just some Central City history of what it was all about. And I'm not taking the time to read any of this. And I don't think you guys will be able to see it either. But if you ever come up, it's right by the parking. See, over there is the parking of Central City. And you can come over and read about it. But yeah, it's this kind of mustard color building right over here, the Annie's Grocery Liquor Dispensary. That used to be the jail. Look how cute. Now, I'm not going to continue to walk on down too far. I'm just going to take a couple of steps. But we used to have an ice cream parlor that they had down here. And when they first in the 70s came out with the waffle cones, which was so cool. We'd come over here and get our scoops of ice cream in the waffle cones. And it's just the family thing we always did. And just really the neatest thing. And they called them a bigaloaf. I don't know why they called them that, but it wasn't. But these used to be storefronts and all kinds of like little antique shops and stores. And then the casinos took it. And then the casino up here didn't take off like it did in Blackhawk. So now a lot of them kind of sit empty. It's really quite sad. But this is where I used to walk as a family. We'd come up here all the time. There was a couple of restaurants we'd maybe sit and eat at. But mostly we'd just come get our ice cream, walk around, and then go explore the beautiful mountains. That was what was fun. Anyway, here's just a quick glance of what downtown street of Main Street of Central City is. We just came from up that way where all the beautiful fall foliage was. All right, this is called the Lace House in Central City. Well, somewhere between Blackhawk and Central City. It used to be in Blackhawk. And as they built up all the casinos, they have now moved it up here. This is not where this house originally was. It was on the side of the mountain, but not that high up. and not with a sheer cliff like that in front of it. And it was a yellow color in the past days, and when they moved it, they painted it to these colors. Well, there's a history on this house that goes with my family, and it's not actually known except for the family. I had an uncle that owned it. I think it was in like the 30s. Well, I don't know if he owned it, but he lived here in like the 30s. And in those days, from where it was located, the train used to come by, and it was a coal train. And the coal shot out of the chimney of the train, come flying down and landed in the roofing area of the kitchen and caught the kitchen to this house on fire. And so they had to scramble to put that fire out that was caused by the train that went above the house. So that's a bit of our family history. I know when you go through the Lace House, and they do give tours, they will tell you that there was a fire in the 30s or whatever it actually was, but nobody knows the history of it. Well, I'm telling you the history. It was the train that actually did it. So there is what this is, and it's the Lace House. I have family history because of the Lace House. It's a beautiful home, absolutely gorgeous, and they have kept it so amazingly well. They've restored it with such beauty of it all. I wish I could go into it again, and I could, but I'm just not going to spend the money or the time on this pretty little house anymore. It's very difficult. There's big stairs you have to climb, and then I don't even know what they charge, and I don't know what the hours are, and due to COVID, I don't think it's something they have just readily open anymore. But anyway, there's the Lace House, and that is part of my family history. Well, I know this isn't going to show much, and I'm now kind of semi-trespassing into somebody, but I had an aunt that lived in this house. And at that time, it was a beautiful little white house with dark gray trim. It was the prettiest little Victorian house. And we could look out here and see out over Blackhawk and everything, and it was just the prettiest little home. But now they have it all walled off, and where we used to park and come down is totally different. There's nothing about it that even remotely looks the way it did when I was a kid coming up here. But this was where my aunt lived, my aunt and uncle. Well, actually, they weren't my aunt and uncle. They were my cousins. They were my mother's cousins. And they're the Blake family that lives up here in Central City. It was Ruth and Otto Blake, and they were pretty main people for this. And then, unfortunately, through the ravages of time, their kids and me and some of my family, we have just lost track of each other. But I have heard that a lot of them have gone into the politics up here, and one of my cousins is a mayor up here, and others are part of the historical societies, and so they're still a pretty main name if you get to talking to the locals up here. But I really just, it's unfortunate, but sometimes family just does that. You kind of lose track of each other over time. But anyway, this was the beauty of where she lived, and it was the sweetest house. It has really been fixed up, it looks like, but nothing like it used to look like. But anyway, here's another little sample, and I'll see if I can get it from down below, a snapshot of what this, or a picture of this, from below, and see if we can still see it at all. It's a sweet house, that's for sure. Beautiful Victorian. All right, it's the one right there with the beautiful peak in the middle with the window. Can't get it any closer with video up on top. That is the house, and it does look like it's black and burgundy and a grayish white. And it is the prettiest little home. It used to be all white with just a little black trim, and now trees and stuff have grown up in front of it. You don't see it as well, and there's so many more buildings built up next to it that are more prominent than they used to be. I think people have added on to their homes and made them bigger, because her house used to be the main one you would see from the street when you first drove along right here. It was a big, beautiful white home that was so pretty. All right, we're getting ready to turn the bend right here, and it is Blackhawk. This used to be smaller than Central City, just the littlest of places along here. And now I can't tell anymore because of all the casinos. But this little stretch along here should have a old hotel. I know they didn't tear it down, they just kind of revamped it. And it was, at that time it was called, I think it was called Gilpin County Hotel. And then it was Blackhawk, or maybe it was Blackhawk Gilpin County Hotel. Anyway, the house I just showed you of my aunt's, she used to own it back in the 40s. And quite a little party, and I don't know where it is anymore. It could be any one of these buildings because they're just not distinguishable as the way they used to be years ago. And I just can't tell which one it is. This one was the garage house, which is not quite it. And it could be one of these coming up right in through here. This is the Gilpin Casino. I think this was the hotel in its day. It's just now the casino. And I won't, yeah, this is it. Okay, this is the one. Gilpin Hotel right here. Okay. This used to be the front doors to go into it. Now they have other entrances and they have changed the whole thing. But this was the building that my aunt owned, and she lived up on the hill. And the story is my dad would come up here and have just a good time with the buddies, his friends and all of that, and maybe have a few too many to drink. Yeah, they've changed it all completely, but this still might be part of it. Anyway, have a few to drink, and because he knew my cousin aunt, she'd give him a room for the night to stay. Well, one time he was up here, and he was up here with his buddies, and then my mother walked into the room, and he's like, his mouth dropped, and he said, "Oh my God, that's the woman I'm gonna marry." And his buddy says, "Oh no, you're not, you're staying away from our sister." That's the funny part of it. And he says, "Oh, watch me." And he went and met her, and they just hit it off, and nobody believed that they could actually make it. And they got married like 6 months later. It was such a whirlwind romance, but they worked until death did them part. It was amazing. And they got married, and one Sunday my dad says, "So honey, what are we gonna do today?" And she goes, "I don't know about you, but I'm going to church. I'm tired of this lifestyle we've been living." And he goes, "You know what? Let's go." And they started going to church, and my mom and dad got saved, and their whole life changed, and they just made it work. They had a marriage made in heaven, I'll tell you. It was amazing for them. So this is where my mom and my dad, I don't know if they met actually here in this hotel, but it was part of the history of where my dad would be, so he could come up and meet my mother anyway. Isn't it a neat story? So this is where it was. I'm going to walk across the street and let you see it from a distance. So there it is, the Gilpin Hotel. Because this is Gilpin County. That's why it's called that. So it has gone through a lot of changes from its day, though. But at least the history of it is still here. It is just the neatest old building. And it's a lot of fun to reminisce of my family's history. It's really cool. I love it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little story. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little family history. I didn't get into even more depth of things, but this was to add it to last week's video where I showed where my mother grew up at and in the cabin and everything up there, and this one's just going to give it a little more history highlights. And so I hope you've enjoyed watching a few little things that my family's life was like, and you know, it's my grandmother's hotel. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this, and it's made a nice day. I've been up here for my grandson's birthday, and do you think I remember to take my camera out and take pictures for that? No. I'm a ding-dong. Anyway, and all of a sudden, oh, fall colors. I started taking some more pictures of that, and then realized I didn't take any pictures of my grandson's birthday party. But last week I showed the lake where we were. It was at that beautiful lake where all the beautiful fall colors were. That's where we were for his birthday party. So if you'll refer back to my Healing Moments video in the mountains, you'll see where that was. I just didn't take any new pictures. What can I say? Anyway, so I hope this has been fun for you all, and that you've enjoyed it, and that you will come back again and watch me when I find something else to video. I'm looking for things till my house moves and sells and we move, so I can do some more fun things that way. But meanwhile, try to let you guys know I'm okay. Things are happening and very slowly. But anyway, I'm going to give a panoramic view of Blackhawk now, which used to be so small. It was the small little town, smaller than the Central City one, but now casinos everywhere. So stay tuned to see the last of it, and that's how we're finishing out. So thanks for watching, guys. You take care, and God bless. And take care until we have another video. All right, I'm walking, kind of showing a little bit here. Those were never here when I come up as a kid and teenager. Massive buildings now. And all of these, I think some of these may be refurbished, but they've added on to them and made them bigger and grander than they once were. Is some beautiful graffiti on a tree. This actually says Alice, even though it's hard to read it. And this says Chuck. This was the name of my aunt and uncle, my mom's brother and sister. They carved their name in this tree 75 years ago, probably. Anyway, it's still here. What a cool thing to remember. Neat family lineage.